This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For connectors, cables, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by ICOM. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information about ICOM radios.
It's Ham Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's time for Ham Talk Live. It's episode number 246. Comm Academy 2021 online. Recorded live on Thursday, February 11th, 2021. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight we're joined by Tim Helming, WT1IM. He's the Public Information Officer of the Comm Academy, and we'll take your calls live a little later in the show. Last week, Jack Dominic was here from the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting to talk about some of their new virtual tours that are available on their website at voamuseum.org, so check that out. And if you missed that show, you can listen anytime at hamtalklive.com or on your favorite podcast app. And we're also available over on YouTube as well. And you can catch the rebroadcast of Ham Talk Live every Saturday afternoon, about 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on WTWW. That's 5085 AM out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. Again, that's 5085 AM, 5.085, and it's Saturday afternoons. All right, well, a couple of things coming up. The Orlando Hamcation Special Edition, or as I like to call it, Hamcation SE, is coming up this weekend, and the webinars are from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time at hamcation.com. You need to sign up for those in advance, so make sure you do that. Make sure they don't fill up. And then the QSO party is going to take place from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday only. So Saturday is the QSO party, and then webinars 10 to 4 on both Saturday and Sunday. But if you want to get on the QSO party, it's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, and there's a string of one-by-one call signs that I noticed just came out in the AR letter a few hours ago, and some more information, so make sure you check that out at hamcation.com. Also, coming up a little bit later in March, the 13th and 14th, is the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo. Early bird tickets are $10, and they're doing Air Meet now, which lets you do some virtual chatting. So there's some hallway meetups, and you can actually get some video with some of the exhibitors and take orders and answer questions and see demos and that kind of thing with the live video chat inside of the Virtual Ham Expo. So make sure you check that out and get your questions ready to go for Tim. If you're listening to us live on Thursday night, you can give us a call after the interview by calling 859-982-7373. We'll give out that number again here in just a minute, so you can write it down or punch it in and have it ready to go. It's not time to call just yet, but after we talk to Tim for a bit, we'll open up the phone lines and we'll announce that. But the phone number to call when that happens, once again, is 859-982-7373. You can also tweet us. You can tweet anytime on Twitter. It's at Ham Talk Live. And if you're on Spreaker, you can type in the comments, and I'll be watching those throughout the evening as I can while we're doing the show. So I'll be back with Tim right after this word from ICOM right here on Ham Talk Live. Love is on the air at ICOM with this sweetheart of a package. It's the IC705, the perfect sidekick for hams that like to enjoy what both the great indoors and outdoors have to offer. It's the perfect QRP companion, base station features and functionality at the tip of your fingers in a portable package covering HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in at just over 2 pounds with RF direct sampling for most of the HF band and IF sampling for frequencies above 25 megahertz. It has a 4.3-inch color touchscreen with live band scope and waterfall, runs 5 watts with a battery, 10 watts with a power supply, CW, AM, FM sideband, full D-Star functions, a micro USB connector, Bluetooth, wireless LAN, integrated GPS, a micro SD card slot, and a speaker mic. Comes standard, and it supports QRP and QRP portable operations. And the perfect accessory for the 705 is the now available optional backpack, LC192, with a special compartment for your IC705 and room for accessories for SOTA activations or just a day in the park. Some other accessories include a QRP portable magnetic antenna, a standard battery, a lithium-ion battery pack, micro USB cable, USB-C to micro USB cable, a DC power cable, a compact lapel push-to-talk Bluetooth with earphone, a desktop tray, and the antenna tuner is coming soon. And there's free software available to download, the programming software, the Android app, the terminal mode access point mode application, and the smartphone picture utility for Android, iOS, and Windows. And the RSBA One IP remote control software is sold separately. Visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
A flashlight is a case for holding dead batteries. Now, here's Neil Rapp with more Ham Talk Live.
Welcome back to Ham Talk Live. Tonight, Tim Helming, WT1IM, joins us on the Orlando Amateur Radio Club and Hamcation Zoom line. Tim caught the radio bug as a little kid and has been a ham for nearly 30 years. He currently operates nearly DC to daylight, HF through 5 gigahertz on ham WAN. And throughout his ham career, Tim has had an interest in emergency communications and public service. In addition to operating on air, he serves as the PIO for the Seattle Auxiliary Communication Service and Comm Academy. So, Tim, welcome to Ham Talk Live.
Hey, Neil, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, thanks so much for contacting me and talking about the Comm Academy. And I have a feeling that you know, a lot of people aren't really familiar with this unless, of course, you're out in the Pacific Northwest, because it's been an in-person thing, and now you had some choices to make, and you've got a chance to go online, and that opens up the doors for a lot of other things. So tell us a little bit about the Academy, what would normally happen, I guess, and what happens and why.
Yeah, so Comm Academy, this is our 20th year, but first year online. And so from its inception and up through last year, it was an in-person event in the Seattle area, and it was like it is this year, 2 days of workshops and presentations and training and so forth. But, up until now, it was a literal kind of classroom environment. Folks would show up and receive this training in person, and we didn't have any kind of a streaming or online component. So when the pandemic, of course, pushed us away from being able to do anything in person, we realized there was this opportunity to make lemonade out of the lemons and put Comm Academy online and make it a virtual conference. And not only will the people who have shown up to the Comm Academy for years be able to still join, but of course now we have the opportunity to open this up to a nationwide or even a worldwide audience. So we are really excited about that. And I can tell you that for Comm Academies in the future, it'll never be the same in a very good way, that once we are able to do Comm Academy in person again, we will also have an online component so that people can join from wherever they might be. So we really feel like there was a silver lining to the disappointment of not being able to meet in person. And so it will be an opportunity for anybody anywhere that's got an interest in emergency communications and preparation around various kinds of emergencies to participate, get a lot of knowledge, meet a lot of other folks, and generally just get very steeped in various aspects of kind of structured communications for a couple of days in April this year.
Well, necessity often pushes us to do things, and this has been the year for it, and we're just talking during the break, how much these virtual conferences and Zoom technology and all these different webinar platforms and everything are just booming, because there's all this stuff going online when you can't do it otherwise, and so I think that's a good thing here, because I know a lot of times I struggle with finding good MCOM material for the show. I know there's an interest in it, but sometimes I struggle to find experts that can really relate, when a lot of this is localized. And so everybody has their own specific criteria. Like if I tried to do something on weather spotting, well, talking about tornadoes, out in,
like in the Seattle
California,
area,
or Seattle,
it
just doesn't really make sense. And even different weather offices have different call-in criteria. So if you're weather spotting, some people only want, quarter size hail, where other people, they want to know pea size hail. And so it's hard to come up with something that's worldwide or even nationwide, for that. So this is giving an opportunity for a lot of this training that's going on out in the Pacific Northwest to expand and go beyond those boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's funny, just as an aside, I'll tell you something about that puts what you just said about the different weather services and what constitutes an emergency in one place versus another. It's going on right now as you and I are talking. There are a few snowflakes falling out of the sky here in Seattle, where I'm located. And in large parts of the country, that would not be a big deal. And in Seattle, everybody's hair is on fire because we don't get a ton of snow, and we've also got really steep hills, and so it becomes pretty exciting around here when this occurs. Tried getting somebody in Minnesota excited about a few flakes of snow falling out of the sky. It's not going to happen,
right?
But you are absolutely right. There is a need for for folks who are interested in MCOM to be able to learn about the fundamentals, and it can be very hit and miss as to where you can get that kind of training. And we are certainly hoping to help meet that need. And some of the presentations that we'll have for Comm Academy 21 use as the basis of them something that is somewhat local. Like here in the Pacific Northwest, the biggest thing that we're always thinking about for MCOM drills and whatnot is a big earthquake. We have the Cascadia subduction zone, which when it goes off, which statistically it does about every 300 years, that's a pretty big deal. And guess when the last time was that it went off? 1700. So, do the math. We're pretty excited about that around here. But preparation for an earthquake is in some ways very similar from a communications point of view to what you would have to do if you're in an area that's going to be affected by severe weather, things like that, where we are imagining scenarios where the conventional communication infrastructure isn't available, and folks who are good at not just radio technology, but structured communications and interfacing with served agencies and things like that becomes so important. And so that is universal in a sense, right? So you can take what we're going to talk about in one of the presentations at Comm Academy this year, where we talk about the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake idea, and you can apply that to any disaster that has the same net effect on communications infrastructure, and then look at some of the options for how to deal with that.
Yeah, and here it's the New Madrid Fault. I've always lived like right on the New Madrid Fault, and it's kind of the same thing. The clock is ticking, and everybody keeps saying, this thing's going to hit, and it just doesn't. But eventually it will, and
that's right.
And that's something that does cross over, but like you said, the fundamentals are there. The criteria might be a little different because different people want different things, and how it's when it's reported and the method of reporting, but the basic fundamentals are the same. You've got some kind of a command structure that needs to be followed, and self-deploying is always a bad idea, and there are things like that can be put together independent of the criteria, and then you apply that criteria to the local stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what are a couple of the workshops that you'll have here at Comm Academy online this year.
Yeah, let's go into that. And by way of introducing that, I will mention, Neil, one of the trends that I think we should all, as hams, especially hams that have an interest in MCOM, be thinking about, which is when we imagine the disruptions to the communications infrastructure, it's likely to be kind of different from, like when I first became a ham in the 90s, where we would imagine, holy smokes, like everything is going to be off. It is going to be dead. The internet infrastructure, digital infrastructure that we've got is incredibly resilient. And there's a likelihood that no matter how big the disaster is, if it's a natural disaster, probably some of that infrastructure is still going to be up and working. However, having said that, there are going to be gaps and holes, and the kinds of skills that we need to bring to bear are going to be different, but still incredibly valuable. So here's an example. So one of the presentations is going to be by a ham named Randy Niels, W3RWN, and he was part of a group that went down to Oregon after a wildfire they had called the Holiday Farm Fire. The fire cut off communications infrastructure to some communities, and one of these communities that was quite remote had all of its had the fiber optic cable and a bunch of switching and so forth that as well as a cell site that served them, all of that destroyed in the fire. Randy and these other folks that he'll be talking about in his presentation created a group that they called Oregon Internet Response, and they went down and put up communications infrastructure, emergency internet access for the folks there. And so the know-how that was required to do that response had absolutely as much to do with being good with TCP/IP networking, routing, switching, stuff like that, as it did with ham radio itself. But it was hams that were the majority of the folks that were part of Oregon Internet Response. And so it was this recognition that the spirit of ham radio in helping restore communications where they're cut off, married to the realities of what kind of technical know-how you're going to have to bring to that kind of response, it was beautifully done. They got the community back online, up and running. They had a center in the middle of the little town that was affected, where there were big signs that said emergency internet access, and folks could get there and connect to that Wi-Fi hotspot and get out to the world. So that's one example. And I'll pause there, but anyway, it really makes you think about what needs to be in your toolkit, and as far as skills go, for being able to step in and help in various kinds of emergencies.
Well, that's a cool topic, and maybe if you've got one more, let's hit one more here of something that people can expect to hear.
Yeah, so let's see. There is, we're going to have you mentioned, I'm going to talk about something that you touched on a second ago too, where so many of the events that we have to respond to have a command structure associated with them. So Tom, VE6TOX, is going to give a presentation called The Importance of ICS in Addressing the Big Ones. And, a lot of folks listening, especially if they have an interest in MCOM, probably are familiar with ICS, the Incident Command System, which is something that the National Incident Management System created, and that's connected to FEMA. It's a system, a command structure that is consistent and replicated across different types of agencies, that allows for a very structured way for folks to interact. Different capacities and different disciplines have a set of ways that they interact with each other. This is highly applicable to the kinds of situations that hams are going to be asked to step into if there's a major disaster. So there's an example of a presentation at Comm Academy that's not very technical in nature, but is extremely important as far as how we can fit in and kind of smoothly become part of the process.
I like it. Very good. All right. Well, we're going to take a break here in just a minute, but let's tell people how they can attend, how much this is going to cost, and where people can find more information about Comm Academy.
Oh, so you mean I get to talk about my favorite part of it, the
Yes.
price tag. Comm Academy is free. Doesn't cost you a penny. And you can find out all about it and pre-register. We're taking pre-registration now. CommAcademy.org. If you're on social media, we're at Comm Academy Conf, Charlie Oscar November Foxtrot at the end for conference, Comm Academy Conf. But I definitely encourage folks to come to the website, commacademy.org, to find out more about what we're talking about here, and importantly, to pre-register. Pre-registering gets you on an email list where we will send you updates and let you know when the actual registration on the platform itself is up and running, so that you can get booked in. We don't have any particular limit on our capacity, which is one of the coolest things about Comm Academy this year. But commacademy.org, that's where you find out all the info.
Okay, well, very good. And then what will people need to connect? Is it a Zoom platform, or is it a similar platform? How are you doing that?
Yeah, you know what? All you'll need is a browser and an internet connection. It'll all be, there will be links sent, and so we're using a platform, but you don't have to have any platform installed. You will just need a browser and internet.
Okay, very good. Well, simple enough to attend, and the price is right. It's free, so check them out at Comm Academy, and that's 2 M's, by the way, COMM Academy.com. .org. All right. Well, we'll come back. We'll talk with Tim. We'll take your phone calls and your tweets and comments and talk a little more about Comm Academy right after this word from Tower Electronics right here on Ham Talk Live.
Thanks for choosing Tower Electronics. How may we help you today? We have PL259s, we have in connectors, we have SMA adapters, we have BNC adapters. What can I show you today?
Where's the tower?
Well, we don't actually have a tower with us, but we have all kinds of things you can use with a tower. We have power poles, antennas, soldering irons, and meters.
Where's the tower?
Ma'am, that's the name of our company. We can't haul towers to all the Hamfests across the country that we visit, but we have almost every connector and adapter you would need to connect your antenna that's on your tower.
I don't think there's a tower back there. I really don't.
Tower Electronics. Visit us at a Hamfest near you or call 920-435-2973 or see our whole catalog at pl-259.com. Sorry, one thing we don't have is a tower.
Join the conversation. Give us a call at 859-982-7373. Again, the number to call is 859-982-7373. Or, if you'd rather type than talk, tweet us at Ham Talk Live. Now, here's Neil Rapp with more Ham Talk Live.
Oh, yeah. You're talking ham radio, baby. You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
Welcome back to Ham Talk Live. Thanks to Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show again tonight. They help bring you Ham Talk Live each and every week. Their Hamfest schedule coming up: Brooksville, Florida on February 20th and Dalton, Georgia on February 27th. But if you can't make it to one of those, you can visit them online at pl-259.com. You can find Ham Talk Live at hamtalklive.com every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And normally at this time, we'd have the Ham Radio Joke of the Week, but since Valentine's Day is coming up this week, Rick decided to send us something a little extra special. So let's see what... Well, let's just see what he sent us this week.
I've been a ham for over 35 years, and I can tell you, we are not the most socially adept group of people there are, especially when it comes to finding a spouse. So I've put together a few pickup lines for ham radio operators. Feel free to use these. Number 1, hey baby, I think we're on the same wavelength. Hey, what's your call sign? What's a nice girl like you doing on 75 meters? You put a glow in my tubes. Hey baby, you cut right through the QRM. Let's have our own private field day. And my personal favorite, you put the fox in fox hunt.
This has been the Ham Talk Live Ham Radio Joke of the Week with Rick Garrett in 9 GSU. Tune in again next week for another joke from Rick.
Oh, my goodness. He's done it again.
Oh, that was just a beautiful thing.
Was that not a beautiful thing? And I like... You put the fox in fox hunt, but my favorite... I always love 75-meter jokes. I'm always telling 75-meter jokes. So I love what's a nice girl like you doing on 75 meters?
This doesn't help for variety of points of view here, but that was the one I was going to name too. Man, that was great.
I hadn't thought of that one before. I'm always telling 75 meter jokes, or 7,200 jokes, but I guess that's not a thing now. I don't know. Well, anyway.
Who knows? Don't make any mistake. We all love 75 meters.
Yes, exactly. It's just, you get a variety on there. Everything from, from politics to religion to colonoscopies. So,
and once in a while they talk about ham radio too.
Yeah, and ham radio. You never know. Well, it's time for your phone calls right now. So give us a call. The number is 859-982-7373. Now is the time to call. If you have a question for Tim, it's 859-982-7373. Or you can tweet us. It's at Ham Talk Live. And if you're listening to us on WTWW or on the podcast edition, we're not here anymore. It's Thursday evening as we're doing this, and it looks like we're getting some messages here on Twitter, so I will check those here in just a moment. But I was digging around doing some research, and I saw that you had planned a 3-day event with some things called master classes, and I thought I'd give you a chance to kind of talk about that a little bit, and I know you're disappointed in not being able to offer those, but is that on the plans for next year?
Yeah, we certainly plan to come back to something closer to what we used to do, but as I said, augmented by an online capacity as well. But yeah, the idea here is that we want as much as possible. There's no substitute for having the give and take of a live classroom type environment. And the way that we're going to do Comm Academy 21 is the presentations by the speakers are going to be pre-recorded, but and then we'll play them during the time slots of the April 10th and 11th. But during that time, those presenters are going to be live on the platform for Q&A and interaction and like that. So in that sense, it's kind of the best of both worlds because, when was the time that you ever got to talk to a speaker while they were speaking, right, on the stage, so to speak. So there will be interactivity, but that's not the same as being able to do a kind of almost more hands-on workshop. And so we'll come back to that hopefully next year once we're back to being able to be in person again. But so that has been part of Comm Academy in the past. It will be part of Comm Academy future. In the meantime, there will be, like I say, if you see something during a presentation, you have a question, you wonder about some specifics or where to get more learning about that particular thing or whatnot, you will be able to interact with the presenter through our platform and get that information.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, we're getting some messages in here, but if you want to give us a phone call, you can do that right now at 859-982-7373. Dr. Scott Wright, K0MD, got on the pickup lines bandwagon, apparently. What's a nice lady like you doing with a Wakshan? Yeah. Yeah. And he says more 75 meter jokes, please. So, he also says, make sure that people realize that this is Comm Academy, not Khan Academy, which my students
that's a whole
are
different
using
thing.
all the time. That's a whole different thing. Khan Academy has all kinds of good science and math stuff. But this is Comm, COMM Academy, not KAHN. So there we go. And yes,
it's funny that
yep.
We used to have the official name was Communications Academy, but everybody just called it Comm Academy. So we thought, well, let's just make the official name the same thing that everybody calls it.
Exactly. And if it were in science, we'd make it an acronym. There's even an acronym for acronyms, like TLA is an acronym for 3-letter acronym.
The meta acronym.
Yeah. We always turn everything into acronyms in science. Let's see. Chris, A4CB, is with us again tonight and says, yay, Brooksville Hamfest. So that's good. That's down in his area. And Mike Braun, KB8ZYE, is with us from over near Cincinnati. So thank you, Mike, for tuning in and commenting tonight. Says it's an interesting topic. Mike does all the QSLing and logging over at the Voice of America Museum. So thanks for tuning in, Mike. And if you have a question for Tim, give us a call, 859-982-7373, or you can tweet at Ham Talk Live, or on the comment, send us one, and we'll get that question answered. So another thing that I noticed in doing some of the research here for the show tonight is you've got an extensive archive on the website. Talk a little bit about what you can find there in the archives for some stuff. Maybe you can go look at if you can't wait until the new stuff comes out. You can check out some of the old stuff.
Yeah, that's right. We should have thought about having a quiz on the previous 20 years worth of material for folks that are coming in this year. But no, it's true. If you come to the website, commacademy.org, there is a menu there that will take you to the archives. And we have archived presentations from Comm Academy's previous, going back to 2001. So if there's a particular topic around emergency communications that you are interested in and want to find information about it, there's a really good chance that somewhere in those 20 years of archives, you can find that particular topic. So I definitely encourage folks to go and check that out. All absolutely free, available to anybody. So, the concept with Comm Academy is very similar to the spirit of open source. This is not protected private information. Our whole point here is that we want to make information about best practices and technical stuff and whatnot available to as many folks as want it and can. So yeah, that's why our archives are 100% open and available.
Very good. Well, let's make one last opportunity here for a phone call. It's 859-982-7373. We're going to close down here momentarily, so give us a call if you've been waiting to do that. Do that right now. 859-982-7373. When it comes to, I'm going off the script here for a minute. When it comes to safety, when it comes to keeping your responders safe, what are the big things that are going to be addressed about that at the Academy, or has been addressed in previous years?
Yeah, that's a really good point. As you mentioned in the intro, part of what I do in my volunteer time is work with Seattle ACS, Seattle Auxiliary Communications Service, which is a type of organization that probably a lot of your listeners are also part of in their local areas if they're interested in EMCOM. And one of the points that Seattle ACS makes for all of our membership regularly is that personal and organizational safety is key. You can't be of much help in a emergency communications setting if you yourself are compromised in one way or another. So some of the briefings at Comm Academy, some of the presentations, past and present, have to do with personal safety and preparedness, and what you should be prepared to deal with, whether those are things like what your Go Kit should include, not just your radio Go Kit, but your personal Go Kit with medical gear and water and food supplies and stuff like that for yourself and your family. And whether it's that or presentations about hazards like winter driving and that sort of thing. in order to be effective in helping out the agencies that you are dedicated to serving as a volunteer, you have to be squared away personally, and your family has to be taken care of. Everybody's family comes first, right? But once those things are squared away, and we have a lot of information in the archives on some of those topics, then you are in a position to be able to really help with whatever response is called for.
Yeah, you really have to, make sure things are okay first before you go out and ask to be deployed somewhere, because, the last thing you want to happen is be out somewhere and then all of a sudden you have to go back and, abandon your spot and go back and take care of something that's more pressing at home. And so
exactly.
It's always a good idea to make sure that things are good to go before you go.
Yeah, I mean, we people who are so interested in radios and technical stuff and everything, it's easy for us to lose sight of, we can have our go kit with radios all figured out and sorted, and we got our power poles and we got our solar and we got all the radios ready to rock. And if we wind up on a deployment and we don't have any water with us, we're going to have a problem, right? So we have to remind ourselves sometimes, as enamored as we are of the technology that we use, that there are other aspects to this preparedness that might not be quite as fun, but that we got to absolutely have covered.
I was in a club meeting here at the Southern Indiana Amateur Radio Association, and they were talking about these life straws, and I had never heard of this as a chemistry teacher. I thought I'd have heard of one of those, but just something like that can purify the water, if you need to. That's a good thing to have around, and so I'm sure you have a lot of hints and tricks like that will be presented, and people need to check that out. So again, remind everybody when this is, where it is, and how they can attend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we certainly encourage everybody that even thinks you might be slightly interested in this topic to come to Comm Academy April 10th and 11th of this year. And you can find out everything you need to know about Comm Academy online, Comm Academy. That is Charlie Oscar Mike Academy.org. And you can sign up there. You can find out. If our schedule of speakers isn't up right now, it will be very soon. Yeah, that's really all you need to know. If you have that URL, you can get all the rest of the information. But April 10th and 11th, put it on the calendar.
All right, very good. Well, Tim, thank you so much for all the work that you do on this, and thank you for coming on the show and promoting this and giving a chance for everyone to attend the Comm Academy 2021. And, it could turn into a more permanent thing. Again, necessity, it drives
That's
things.
Right.
And so, we may be looking at more to come. So we'll be interested to see how that goes. But thanks for coming on, talking about everything, and hope it goes well.
Well, thank you, Neil. It's been a blast, and absolutely thrilled that you invited me to be on, and hope to see lots and lots of folks for Comm Academy this year.
All right. Well, check those out, and I'm sure Tim can answer questions too. It's a Whiskey Tango 1 India Mike, and you can find him, I know, at QRZ.com. So if you have questions, go to commacademy.org or get a hold of Tim, and they'll help you out. So that is a wrap for this week's edition of Ham Talk Live. Thanks to my guest, Tim Helming, WT1IM, and everybody out there in cyberspace for listening and typing in tonight. And I invite you back next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And for a list of our upcoming guests, visit hamtalklive.com. And in the month of February, we're doing a T-shirt giveaway. If you like the show, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. But on iTunes, we're giving out some free T-shirts to reviews that are posted in the month of February. So what you do is you go to Apple's podcast app on your mobile device or iTunes on your computer. Search for Ham Talk Live, click on the logo, and then scroll down to the bottom. There's a thing there that says write a review, and just leave a review in there, and make sure you leave your call sign in there so I can get a hold of you if you win one of the T-shirts. And that just helps other people find the show faster if we can get some reviews on there. So we're adding a little motivation there to do that. All right, well, we'll wrap this up for tonight. So for now, this is Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, saying 7375, and may the good DX be yours.